Silver and Gold. This is a game of roll and draw, no, I should say draw and draw, draw and write. It is one of those games in this family of games that have been very successful lately, in which a prompt is generated by rolling a die or drawing a card, and then players will draw on their own personal player aid, and at the end of the game you score and see what happens. In Silver and Gold, we were told they were looking for treasures, and we're gonna have grids such as these ones that we're gonna cross out. We're gonna cross out areas there. In truth, the game is pretty abstract, but still. I didn't know anything about it, but I read online that the game could be played on Zoom, and in these days of spring 2020, these days of social distancing, that seemed to me the responsible thing to do. I'm looking for physical analog games that I can play remotely, so I played it that way with adult friends, and it didn't work very well. I thought simply I had a copy, I would show a card, everybody at home would draw their own grid, but that took too long and that kind of made the game pretty boring. Then I played it with my daughters that are now 7 and 9, and they loved it, and I also enjoyed playing the game with them. So not a game that really works, at least in my opinion, for times of social distancing with your adult friends, but if you're gonna play with your family, then it's fine. Each player in the game will have a player aid such as this one. We'll see how that works. Each player has a dry erase mark for come with the game. Then we have these cards that represent the different islands that players are going to try to complete. Each player receives a number of them at the beginning, 4, and they choose 2 that they place before themselves. These are the islands that they're trying to complete. You always have 2 available, and then you shuffle the remaining ones, and you create an offer of 4 that you will use to replace them when you get a new. When you finish an island, you place the island in your scoring pile, and you get a new one from the offer. And I'm looking for cards that will allow me to exemplify something else. Now, you also have these cards that represent the prompts. There are 8 such cards here. Each round you will use only 7, so when 7 of these cards have been shown to the players and players have marked areas accordingly, the last one is not used. You shuffle these together and you start a new round. So there are rounds that of 7 cards each, and there are 4 such rounds. At the end of the 4th round, so you had 28 actions, the game is over and you score points. When you reveal a prompt, well, pretty simple. You choose one of your 2 islands and you draw the shape there. You can mirror it, you can turn it around, but you have to fit it all. Of course, you can only fit an X in an area that has not been crossed out yet. And but then, however, there are some special effects, as you can see here. For example, if I cross out a palm tree, like I did here, I immediately score a number of points equal to 1 for my palm tree, plus palm trees that are visible at that time in the offer. There's 1 there, that means that this palm tree here is worth 2 points, and I write that on my personal player aid. I suppose that actually that's how we did it. I like this one better for what I need it for. And then we draw another card and we fill out that also. 1, 2, 3. When we cross out an area with a cross, then we immediately cross out another area which is legally available and say I'm gonna do that one instead. When you cross out an area, this is the one I just drew. When you cross out an area that has a coin, such as this one, then immediately also mark a coin on your player aid here. When you finish the line, then you get a trophy, and the number of points that you score depends on how many trophies have been assigned already. I am the first player to finish a line. I get the 6-point trophy, and we mark it this way. So the next trophy is assigned. Whoever gets it, which might be me, is gonna get 5 points, and so on and so forth. The value of the trophies goes down. When a card is full, is completely full, Then I place it in my scoring pile, and I get another one, and the game continues from there, marking and doing our thing. During your turn, you may also choose, instead of placing that shape, to mark a single sad, lonely, measly square. But I'm not gonna do that right now because that would be silly when I can do something else. Oh, the L shape from Tetris. Who doesn't like that one? I don't know. I like it. That square, there's no way for me to place that square anywhere right now, so I get to place a single square, to mark a single square instead. And the last one, so this is not placed. And that's pretty much how you play. I guess I just played the first round. Shuffle those, start a new round. At the end of the game, what you score are the number of points that you have scored from palm trees. 1 point for each coin symbol, plus the points from your trophies. The value of the cards that you see in the top left corner, plus seals. These are cards that give you synergies. If this card is in my scoring pile, I score 2 extra points for each orange card that is also in my scoring pile. So that's why I would create synergies, and this will be a pretty neat synergy because this one gives me bonuses for the orange ones and this one for the green ones. So you add all of the points that come from these sources, you add your total, and at the end of the game, the player with the highest total wins the game. The game is pleasant, simple, maybe a little too light for some of you. I played it maybe 5-6 times with my daughters. The more we played it, the more excited they get, and I still find it pleasant, but after that many times in a row, I feel like I probably want to play something with a little more meat. Could be a great filler during game night, but you shouldn't be having game night these days, now with friends that are not also your roommates, because these are days of social distancing. But to play with your family, to play with your children, this is a great game. My 7-year-old, my 9-year-old both like it very much because it is a game that is perfectly understandable. As a filler, it's perfectly fine. It's fun to cross things out. It's fun to try to get some synergies going on, figuring out the right time to get the palm trees, figuring out the right time to get that coin that gets your trophy before somebody else. So definitely it's not a multiplayer solo as other draw and draw, roll and draw, draw and write games are, because there is that element that the value of certain things deteriorates. There's a push-your-luck element that in the last round you will probably not start some big project, but then there's also maybe a little bit of anticlimactic thing, because at that point people are just trying to grab one last coin, because that gives you an extra point at the last minute. So it's fun, it's interesting, it's very light, it does not work on Zoom. I thought it might. I would just show a card to somebody, to an adult friend, they would draw the grid, but then in a turn, 2 people out of 4 needed a new card, and so we're waiting for that person to write down, another person to draw their own thing. Next turn, somebody else needs another card. And so that made the game just too slow for what it is. So I do not recommend it for remote play, but to play in person with your family. It's simple, it's light, it's very straightforward. Maybe a little too light, but if you're playing with children, then not too light. Your joy is to see them having fun. And again, for yourself, it's not bad. It's not a bad filler.